Hello and welcome to the I Am podcast for the independent American mama. I am your host, Renna. It is February now and big things are happening. We are at the beginning of yet another week, and I have this thought to ask you. What are you doing with your Mondays to set you up for success throughout the entire week? Success means anything that you have accomplished. Are you making your bed every morning? Are you getting up a little earlier than necessary? Are you working out? Are you taking opportunities to serve someone? Are you looking at your reflection in the mirror and expressing kindness towards yourself? What are you doing to push you into a forward and upward trajectory? Today, our guest is someone I had the honor of meeting during our travels in Southeast Tennessee. I'd like you all to meet Meghan Renna. I have been wanting you guys to meet Meghan because she has a light within her that she shares, and I want her light to shine into this podcast. She runs a virtual health and wellness program called Renna Health, focusing primarily on building easy bridges for people to cross from where they are to where they desire to be, building compounding healthy habits to make sustainable changes for a lifetime. They shifted to this field after facing challenges and burnout from serving in physical therapy and occupational therapy for many years. She is adventurous and creative. She loves spending time with her family and creating memories. Let's dive in. All right, Meghan, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. We're like socked in with like snow and ice, but doing well otherwise. How about yourself?
Oh my goodness. Oh, we're same.
Yeah.
There's so much snow.
Yeah.
How long have you been a mom?
I've been a mom for, technically 13 years. I have two boys, 13 and 10, but I was the little girl that like dreamed of being a mom like my entire childhood. I was the little girl that was always walking around with baby dolls and trying to hold everybody's baby. And yeah, I like couldn't wait to become a mom one day.
Oh, that's so cute. So you have
Yep.
two boys.
Yep.
Boys are fun.
They're
I don't have older boys, but I'm seeing how they're gonna be awesome when they get to those ages.
It's so fun. It's like I always say, create an extra budget for like accidents, repairs, all the other like just Murphy proof like funding, because they're going to break stuff. They're going to, be rowdy and all the things, but they're so much fun. Yeah. I love my boys.
That is so smart. Yes, emergency budget.
Yes. A bigger emergency budget than they just recommend for the 3 to 6 months of living expenses.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
Well, can you expand on what it is that you do for a living?
Yeah. So my husband and we run a virtual health coaching practice from our home. We've done this for the past 10 years. We had come from like more, we were both in the military and had medical backgrounds in physical therapy and occupational therapy. And we just got really burnt out. Felt like we weren't really helping people anymore. Our own health was really taking a backseat with the pace that required. And then after I had kids, it was just that kind of like crucial moment where it was like, I want to raise them. I want to be with them. So I started looking at other options. And so we created this virtual health coaching practice where we really try to help people build in and establish healthy habits in all factors of their health, in their sleep, in their stress reduction, in their nutrition, in their mindset, in the community they keep, in the surroundings they have. And so it looks really different depending on who we're working with because everybody has different and unique goals, which we love. And that's why it's never gotten boring after 10 years because everybody has such a different story that they're trying to build and create. But yeah, we do it from home. And so it's been so awesome to have that freedom and flexibility to travel. And then when we're snowed in to still be able to help people from everywhere. I can see my boys even like going to sled right now in the background.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we came out to see you guys in April.
I know.
It was last year, almost a year ago now. And I just loved how open you were and you were fun. We went hiking together and just I could see the light in your kids and your whole family. And I really wanted you to join this podcast so you can share memorable experiences, how you do it, all of the things.
Mhm.
So, what would be your favorite outdoor activity to do with your kids?
I mean, we have a lot. We have like our favorite seasonal activities of like, obviously right now with the snow, we're out there sledding as much as possible. We're out with the dogs playing in the snow. We love even like snowshoeing and things. But then in the more like warmer times of year, we love hiking. That's probably our number one thing that we do together. But we also love paddleboarding and being out on the water. And we have, yeah, lots of different outdoor seasonal activities that we love to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got lots of great hiking spots out there too.
It was one of the reasons we moved here because we kept seeing even like we're figured, well, we're going to be surrounded by even 7 other states that we can keep exploring. And
Yeah.
then there's plenty of like outdoor water and hiking activities and opportunities within just even right here or within a couple of hours.
Way cool. Well, can you share a memorable bonding experience from one of your adventures?
I mean, I think they're all bonding because when you just get outside and you get moving, people start talking and they start laughing together. And so we've had a ton. I mean, some of them are just even like funny of how all the places that our boys have ended up having to go to the bathroom in the middle of, like the wilderness. And so we just always kind of laugh at some of those experiences that we've had together. Some have been in like Tahoe where we've hiked with friends. And I remember our boys were even pretty little. And just when they were out there with their friends, we were all like cheering them on and like celebrating that they were able to accomplish. Like, I can't even remember how many hours and how many miles we hiked that day. But it was just kind of one of those firsts where we were like, wow, they can do far more than we've been like realizing. And so we wanted to kind of keep challenging them out in that way, but also just really celebrating that. And then I would say others are when we can take them to places that have meant something to Brandon and I when we were still like before we were parents. So we love taking them back to like Yosemite, where that's where we were raised. That's where we got engaged. And so it's so fun to then see it through fresh eyes when you get to take your kids back to some of those like milestone, areas that you got to experience too.
Absolutely. I remember taking our kids to southern Utah. That's where I was raised. And taking them to all the places that we went, the hiking spots, and I feel like I need to apologize to my mom for how I treated her because there are things that my kids will even do that I'm like, wow, my mom was very patient with me.
Yep. Yep. I know you always see things through totally different lens when you get to take your kids back to some place or yeah, just re-experience like, well, what
Absolutely.
was I like these days? Yep.
Yeah, and they love it. I mean, and new experiences too, because like in southern Utah, they're expanding like crazy out there right now. And so there's so much more to do now than there was back then. Back then you had to get really creative with what you can do in the hiking spots. But now there's so many trails, and so it's really
Right.
cool.
Yeah, we just want to show as much of the world to our boys as we can and just
Yeah,
let them kind of take it all in.
absolutely. Well, what tips do you have for encouraging kids to embrace a healthy and active lifestyle?
I would say that one of the big ones is start really young. I mean, we were kind of laughing once I had Seton, he was like only weeks old, and we made the trek from Southern California to Northern California to go into Yosemite because we were decided when we became parents where it was like we don't want to stop our adventuring. We want to bring our boys along to have this, fun, adventurous, healthy lifestyle too. So we just started taking them on hikes and doing all the things that we loved from a really young age. And it obviously looked different in terms of, the length or some of the having to stop for diaper changes and all the other things. But I think that's been part of what has helped instill in them like just a love for being active and for having fun. We really try to just model it ourselves because obviously like more is always going to be caught than taught. And so you can like talk all you want at them of what you want them to do and get out moving and all the things. But if you're not doing it, then it doesn't even look as appealing or as fun or as important as what you're kind of trying to portray. So we just are always out there working out in our gym or doing stuff outside, and they just kind of end up wanting to be with us and coming alongside and doing it with us. And then we try to gamify a lot of things and just kind of cheer each other on. So we will always try to kind of track what we're doing and try to see if we can do one more. Or we just, make games of any little thing that we're doing, like we're doing little pull-up challenges or, out there with the basketball or different things like that, to just try to gamify it and make it as fun as possible so that it looks appealing and that they want to do more of it and they want to get outside. I would say the other big thing is trying to find other friends that have similar interests and have those active, healthy lifestyles too. Cause even like we went out there on a hike. We were like far outnumbered, right? With kids, adults.
Totally.
But it was like, you find those other people where it's like, those are your people and they're going to have their kids that are going to be, because a lot of times too, like we would laugh a lot of the time. We would go out on walks or different things like that. And it'd be this flat paved walk. And our boys are like dragging, like, I have no energy. But you take them out on a hike with some friends and they would be running miles, and not complaining for a second. And so a lot of times it's just finding those other friends that they can challenge each other even and grow together too.
I love that. I like how you said gamify. I love that word. That's such a great idea.
For all the things, like I gamify everything I do as much as possible, even for myself, to make things more enjoyable, more fun, more efficient. So
totally. Yeah, I'm on this challenge right now. It's a really hard challenge for me. And my kids are seeing me do it every single day. So like I'm modeling it right for them. And my 5-year-old will come up to me now saying, I want to join your challenge. I said, oh, it's very hard, but you can do it. And a couple weeks ago, I was making a treat for all the kids and he says, oh, I'm on this challenge. I can't eat this. I said, oh, you're right. If you're on this challenge, you can't eat this. He's like, well, I can start tomorrow. I'll stop now and I'll start again tomorrow. I'm like, as long as you start again tomorrow.
Right? That's so funny. Yep. Well, and it's always sometimes important for them to even see like, it's a choice. Like if you want to make that choice, that's all right. But like you said, like, let's get back on track for tomorrow.
Exactly. Yep. I love that. What benefits have you noticed in your family from regularly going on adventures together?
I would say they're really brave. They're really fun to be with, because we've just incorporated them in so many different things. And we've traveled a ton. Just I know like you guys even have too. So you probably even started to kind of see this in your kids as well. But with even just all the travels and all the things that we do, our boys have become really good at just like engaging people in conversations. I mean, some of it was even like kids that don't even speak their same language. They're like, you want to play? You want to go, swim? You want to go jump on this trampoline? You want to? And so I think it's made me just even admire how adventurous they have become as a result of just kind of putting ourselves out there and just following through on some of these things. So yeah, they're really brave. They're really adventurous. They're so much fun to be with. And then I think a lot of it's going to be like hobbies that stick and hobbies that can last. We've kind of strayed away. We haven't put our boys in a ton of like the conventional like sports or some of the different things, just because I saw even observationally that a lot of people that played some of those, it's really hard as an adult to like set up a soccer game or set up a basketball game or set up a baseball team. And so, but like hiking, you can do obviously anytime, anywhere, really any age. Swimming, like we wanted to instill in some different passions and gifts and things that would have the longevity that they could do it forever. But that you can still even have that camaraderie of doing it with other people and learn from doing it with other people too. So yeah, we kind of haven't done some of the traditional things, but we've had a whole lot of fun in some of the non-traditional approaches to adventuring.
That's perfect. Yes. And confidence, instilling that confidence in them. Definitely. How do you handle technology use during family outings to encourage connection and presence?
I mean, on family outings, they don't have any like we don't have phones and things like that for them. We got our son, he loves taking pictures. So we got him like a point and shoot camera. And so he's always running around taking pictures and he's got, different journals for wildlife tracking and things that he loves to just like draw or write notes, kind of like a nature journal. But we don't usually do a lot of technology when we're out and about. And that's one of the nice things I think about getting out there. and exploring is they don't really usually even have a desire or a request for it. With a lot of our longer travels, we don't have like a no media policy or anything. So we'll let them like watch a movie or something like that. I always kind of take it as almost like when I get on an airplane, it's really fun. So it feels like a treat when you get to like watch a movie. So when we're doing like our longer travel days, then we would let them watch a movie or something like that. But I think for the most part, just the way we've done and handled things, because we don't make it like an absolute no, they don't feel like the need to really binge then when they get the opportunities. They still kind of handle it in good, healthy doses. And then we have our boys in a virtual online school that talks a lot about being creators over consumers. And so just the reinforcement that they get from their teachers and from their fellow classmates, that's really helped too. So even when they do get on media, it's usually not to consume things unless it's with the mindset of like, how could I make something like this? How could I look at the angles that they shot things from, or how could I create that kind of lighting? And so now they make movies. That's usually what their favorite thing is to do, is they make Lego stop motion movies, or they're outside making their own movies and things like that too, which I'm all for, because I think that can still keep a healthy like tethering between like using technology and learning the skills and learning but then creating something pretty amazing with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I believe that there's moderation in all things, right? And with technology growing right now, we've got to understand it ourselves. It's
Yep.
becoming more and more real in our lives as everyday use, right? Um, so I think it's also very important for kids to understand how to use all this technology,
Yep.
um, but also to understand the moderation of it and not get consumed. Yeah.
And find healthy ways that it can be used, because just like I know there's a lot of people out there that they swear off of media or social media or some of these different things, and it's like just with anything there can be a lot of good that can come from it. There can be a lot of tools and resources, and even podcasts and things like this, where it's like we would hope that this would add value and assist other people. And so it's just hopefully helping teach them where to get the right sources of the information or of the imagination to create, and what they can build with it.
Yeah. And we're also the model too, right?
Oh
Gotta
yeah.
not
Yeah.
consume ourselves with it too.
Yep. Which is I'm always a work in progress on that, because it's easy to start getting into that loop, but just that, yeah, creating over consuming is something that is frequently talked about in our home.
Yeah. How much time do you consider healthy for minimum family bonding?
That's a hard one to answer, because I think it's going to be unique to families, right? I know for us, we've made some radical changes because we want to have as much time together as we possibly can. So we're actually the opposite in some regards now, where we have to like schedule time apart because we work together, we work from home, our boys are home for school. So we were together all the time, and that was not the case when they were little. And that was why we made changes, because Brandon was only seeing them, maybe when they woke up in the morning before he had to go in. And then it was like the, bath time, put them to bed when he would get home and see them for just that amount of time. So that's really hard on families. So if anybody has the option or can look at figuring out some other options, I mean, I know a lot of us, that was the model we had, right? Like our parents worked really hard outside of the home, and we made some shifts where we were like, we want our boys to like see us work and bring them along for it, so that they can learn some tangible skills. So yeah, we get a lot of time together, but I would say, I mean, starting off, sometimes it's like, I don't know, 30 minutes a day at least, and like, how can you build upon that? How can you double it? Again, how can you gamify it? And like, what else can you cut so you can have more time together? Because that is what I'm quickly discovering as my boys are getting into like those preteen, teen years. I'm like, oh my gosh, it really does go fast when they say it goes fast. Maximize as much of the time as you possibly can. And especially on the front end where you can build in and instill like those bonds. Because then when they are teenagers, like they still want to hang out with us. They still want to be with us. which is so great. But yeah, I mean, I think I've heard a statistic that on average, like kids only get like 8 minutes outside a day, and that breaks my heart. And so again, if we can just as a culture start like, well, how can I double that? Or how can I maximize, what else can I cut so that we can have more time together, more time outside, more time in nature. It's so important.
Yeah. Have you heard of the 1,000 hours outside?
Yeah, I think you were telling me about it, that you
Yeah.
guys are taking that challenge.
Yeah, I love that. And
Yeah.
I've been following them for quite a few years now, and it is so real, like what you were saying. They only spend like 8 minutes a day outside, and it's even in the winter times, it's so hard to get the motivation to get your kids to go outside, but
Yeah.
it's so important for their health, overall health and well-being.
Oh, absolutely. It's so needed for just, to soak up that vitamin D to so like what our bodies even need. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many reasons for it. So it's like, take what you have right now. But a lot of times I think if people get real with themselves, it can be, what are some of the things that I could cut so that we can create better memories and experiences together and have more time.
We came out to Southeast Tennessee back in April of 2023, and we were helping their community learn to grow food and build a regenerative system and mindset. After that class, we got our families together and we went on a really cool hike. The trails were so fun. There were lots of big rocks our kids were playing on, trees everywhere, waterfalls, streams, rope bridges. It was incredible. Spending time with the Renna family was a time I will not forget. They were so fun and energetic. Definitely glad I got to know them, and I hope you jump into their circle, getting to know them more as well. Meghan is offering free health assessments as they have a limited number of $50 scholarships available, and it is first come, first serve. Their plans and programs are already cost saving for people, so this is a cool opportunity to jump on. Find her and follow her on Facebook and Instagram at Meghan Renna. Can you share a parenting challenge that you faced and how you addressed it?
Yeah, we've had a lot over the years of just even some major ones of like moving cross country, of having to, we had mold in our home, and we had to get rid of like almost all of our belongings, and that was really, traumatic for our boys especially. We most recently, even we had gotten a puppy just before Christmas time, and she was like the pick of the litter. And then we took her to the vet for her normal checkup, and they ended up having to put her down because of just, I won't go into all the details, but it was again another like really tragic and traumatic thing to walk through and navigate, and to see your children in pain and in grief. But I think that that's one of the things that we've just had to learn as a family, is like, it's okay to have big emotions. It's okay to express them. It's okay for us to even just like sit and like mourn and grieve over this. And even ask some of those hard questions of like, why, why? But to still know that like God's in it, God's got us, we've got each other too. And to just really like, I think again, because of how much that we've really tried to be intentional about like, nothing's off the table. Like we can talk through this, we can love through this, we can hug through this, that we've been able to still navigate as successfully as possible. I mean, it's, yeah, there's been some major, huge life hurdles and challenges, but I think for us, it's just that we're gonna get through this together.
Absolutely. It's a team effort. And that's something big that we have been working on as a family, is creating a family vision to
Mhm.
look forward to.
Mhm.
And every time something happens, we're faced with a challenge, we all look at it and go, okay, remember our vision, guys. We got this. What can we do to work together? And if individually it affects some of us, then we'll all buckle in together to help that one person, and that's having something to look forward to, a goal that you're all working towards, really helps face those challenges together too.
Yeah, to let them know that they're a part of that bigger picture, and that even that family like mission. of like, this is where we're going, this is what we're working on, this is what we're creating. Because yeah, I think kids, again, they want to be a part of it. I think a lot of we don't give our kids enough credit for all that they can create, all that they can add, all of the thoughts and things that they even process through and can really enhance your own experience. I know I've learned a ton from just asking questions of my boys and hearing what they think about it. So they've helped me navigate a lot of the pain and a lot of the loss and grief and everything else too.
Yeah, I was listening to a motivational speaker, and I don't remember how much long after it was, maybe just a couple days, but I was really kind of in my slump.
Mm.
And my oldest son, who's now 10, he was about 6 at the time, he comes in and says, Mom, just because nothing is happening doesn't mean God isn't doing something. I was like, you heard that from my motivational speaker, didn't you? But it was something he focused on and was able to come to me, see me
Yep.
in my pain, and express that and just transfer those words back to me. And that was really cool to see them partaking in those experiences with me.
Yeah, I love it because, like you said, they're gonna pick up on something different, and then when they speak it out and mean it, and they have that conviction, it lands different for you. So yeah, we let our boys listen to a lot of different things that we're a part of, that we host, that we create. Like they're around for all of it.
That's awesome. How do you encourage open communication with your children?
We do lots of our meals together. So like breakfast, we do a family devotional together and just kind of open our day with prayer and with even like, what do you have today? How can we come alongside and help? How can we, and just we're always just in communication. And then dinner time is usually that, how did things go? What was like something really interesting that you learned, or who did you love spending time with today? And so we're just, yeah, we I think that when you can kind of get those toes under the table and just talk, so much can come out in those conversations too. And so we are just always like, what questions do you guys have? What are you learning about, or what are you curious about? And so that's been really good. And then definitely we go through books together. We go through lots of different things just together that spark conversations and that spark their curiosity as much as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, my kids, when they have to tell me something, there have been times where I am just so flustered and just in my own head where I'm not fully in the conversation, but I'll reply,
Yep.
and I realize I don't recognize it in myself, but when I see my husband do the same thing, I look at him going, "You're not even listening. Why did you just say that to him?" It's like that wasn't the response anyone was looking for.
Right.
And I have to find I look at myself and go, oh, I do that too. I need to be more open to communication because if I don't, I'll miss it. I'll miss the opportunity to grow and really foster that bond that I'm trying to create with my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where, I mean, even like we bring our kids into the kitchen with us too. So it's not even like that ends up being a big part of it as well. Of one, it was hard when they were little because things definitely took longer and were messier for sure. But now that they're 13 and 10, like they're actually really good cooks. And we enjoy doing a lot of that even together too. And again, that can just foster some of I think sometimes when you can get your hands occupied, things come out and they're processing and they're talking and they're thinking through things. And so, yeah, even when they're little, just allowing them to be a part of the making and creating. And again, it's going to take more time on that front end, but you're raising them to be then strong and independent and even helpers. So now a lot of it, I feel it's funny. As I'm like talking through some of these things of what we do, I'm like, it didn't always look that way. It was really messy for a while, but now I'm so thankful that we were really intentional when they were little to see now how independent they are, what free thinkers they are, how, like I said, just how fun they are to engage in these conversations with, because they've been around for so much of just the seemingly tedious things in the beginning. But yeah, it's going to build upon and compound over time for serving them to be, again, independent and strong and able.
Yeah, it absolutely will.
Yeah.
What is your go-to strategy for managing stress and maintaining a positive mindset?
We have a home gym. And so one of the first things that we purchased was a punching bag. Yeah, in all honesty, sometimes that's what we talk about of like, even with our boys, it's like, it's okay to want to hit things sometimes, like when you get those emotions and you get those things built up or you get that stress and it's like, but it's not at each other. Like go outside, hit the bag for myself included. So yeah, sometimes it's like hit heavy things or lift heavy things can make a world of difference of just helping me like release it and get it to move out of my body because I was not good at that for a long time and things would get trapped and stored up inside my body. And then I would be dealing with pain or discomfort. So that's a big one. I'm constantly trying to like wash my brain in something that is like pure, positive, helpful, biblical. I'm always trying to like make sure that that's what is going in, so that that's what can come out in all honesty too. And then we just really we try to have a good circle around us of other mamas especially where it's like I always one of my favorite books is Lisa Bevere, it's Godmothers, and she talks about that it's so good to have like peers that are at that same season, that same place of you, but you also want to find people that are a season ahead of you that can pour some wisdom ahead and even give you some of those reminders of like, I know it's hard right now, I know they're little, I know they're messy, but it's like savor it because it's gonna vanish really quickly here. And then find those women that are just that season behind you even too that you can pour into as well. And so yeah, we just try to keep really healthy like circles that then help reinforce that positive mindset for me and puts things in perspective because yeah, when you can talk to a mom that has babies and you're like, oh, yeah, I miss that stage, and it puts things in perspective for me to soak in the time now as well. Or when I can hear from those moms that have their kids going off to college or becoming grandmothers, and I can pull and learn so much. And it just gives me that like grounding of like, okay, this is the season I'm in right now. How can I be present in this and maximize it for that future? But also reflect and like be so grateful for the past that we've had as well. So those are some of the bigger ones that I tend to pull from.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask what book you might recommend it. So what was the book?
Yeah, it's called Godmothers by Lisa Bevere. It's one of my I love her work. So yeah, it's a great one.
Cool. Awesome. Well, before you wrap up, I just wanted to know if there's any message that you can share with the listeners here through your work and everything that you do. And what would you say to a mom who just wants to spend more time with her kids, who is just trying to get out of her go, go, go phase and just wants to be more present? What could you share with her?
Yeah. I remember, I think, when my boys were little, there was a lot of times where I would get caught up in the like cleaning the house 50 times a day or and you get out of that stage and you're like, why did I spend so much time cleaning? Why didn't I just enjoy and play and allow it to even be messy for that season? And so I think a lot of it is just, yeah, like you actually probably have a lot more time than you realize. You just might be spinning your wheels on things that maybe don't have as much value as you really think. So it's like, is this going to matter in 5 minutes or 5 years? Is kind of always that good question. And sometimes when you can have that perspective of like, is this going to matter in 5 years if I do the dishes immediately right now, or I wash, and put the toys away for the 15th time? Like, no, but playing with my kids or getting them outside, like those things are going to matter. So I'm going to prioritize that. And it doesn't mean, or like I said, bring your kids along for some of those other chores and things like that. And again, it's going to maybe take some more time in the beginning, but you're going to be building more freedom time on the backside when they know how to do those things. Cause I still laugh, like when I have some moms that they're like still making their kids lunches and and I'm like, is that something you want to keep doing? Or would it be, serving your kids more if they knew how to do it even, and then you had more time together to do the things that you really value and that you really want to build in with them. So yeah, those And then, like I said, sometimes it takes radical change. Like we've had to do some really radical moves of like changing careers and moving across the country and doing some, because we had to have that longer term vision in mind of like really where do we place our values. And that was when, like, even you talked about having that family vision, like create a family crest, create a family vision of like, who are we? What are we for? What do we want to be about? What are our top values? And are the choices that we're making right now, day in and day out, are they putting us on that path to create that? Or do we need to shift some things so that we can really say like, yeah, we're living within our values each and every day, and being proud of that, even if it is a little bit messy, or even if it, again, can shake some things up and cause you to have to change some things. But I just sometimes think with, it might be a little bit morbid, but I've had a lot of loss in my life of losing family members. And all I ever wanted was more time with them. And so it was like, if I can create and carve that out now, and I can like kind of begin with the end in mind of like, I just want more time with them. What can I do to create that? You're going to have opportunities and things that will probably start flowing, that you're going to start seeing those options, or things that you can cut out that are no longer serving you or your family. So.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Well,
was perfect.
good. Well, it was so fun chatting today. I'm so excited. You guys all have to come back out because I need to snuggle the baby.
We want to come out so badly. I have been picturing myself out there in those mountains ever since we left.
Well, anytime, we've got space for you guys, so feel free if you want to have a little vacay.
Thank you. And thank you
Yeah.
for being on this podcast with me today.
Yeah, happy to help. I hope it serves somebody.